Eh, Guys, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm the only one who is observing this. I've never seen Julius Malema being so defeated, so humbled, so out of place, like the way he is after his bosom friend's departure from his EFF party. This guy would always make sure that whoever departs from the party, he makes them to feel like they have done the worst mistakes of their lives. He would do some side jabs. He would sometimes even bring in their past failures and mistakes and flops that they did while they were within the party. But when it comes to Floyd, it looks like Floyd was really Julius Malema's soft spot. I was listening to his recent interview that he was doing with Dalimpofu's son. What's his name? It's Sizwe Mpofu Walch, yes. He was actually Floyd was actually trying to cause a bit of destabilization, if I could put it that way, because he says that majority of the EFF leaders were aware of his departure before it happened, and they begged him not to tell their leader that he's gonna be leaving soon. In fact, he spoke along the lines of even implying that some of them are even contemplating following after him. So it's quite saddening to hear such news, especially because uh, Floyd is a co-founder of the party, and it has been a youthful, vibrant, radical, sometimes controversial party, yes, but I believe it resonated more with the youth. And it looked like they were coming okay. Okay, others are complaining about Julius Malema's autocratic, bossy, bully style of leadership, the one that is not um, collaborating ideas, and the one that is not consulting, the one that is maybe self-absorbed, self-centered, always shining alone, always doing interviews on his own, always the one that is up there traveling the country, tiring himself with all the countless rallies that he's been addressing in the past years without getting a spotlight being transferred to some of his uh, intellectual leaders like Abondlozi and Abo Floyd. Others feel like maybe Floyd feels like he would have never reached a stage where he gets to enjoy his own shine for as long as Julius Malema was was at the helm of leadership. In fact, Julius Malema almost said it in not so direct words that anyone who tries to challenge him in any way will feel the wrath of his comebacks. He even spoke along the lines of saying that he has never lost any conference from his olden days in SASCO, in Youth League, and now in the EFF. And I guess the reality that Floyd and Julius are almost in the same age and living in the same generation poses a challenge of saying that even for future takeover potential possibilities, I mean, it's one thing to submit under a leader who's older than you, where you know that at some point they might depart earlier and you take over, like in the case of the late Ntwana Kapindangene's party, IFP. He was deputized by fairly young, middle-aged leaders when he was in his 90s, and he had leaders who were in his 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm sure the elders might have been in their 70s. So they knew that at some point Uchenge will leave, and they will at some point have to take the baton. But in a case where Julius is of the same age as Floyd, in a case where these guys are bosom friends, I do not know how it would have come about that at some point Floyd would have had to take over and be a party leader and be the party president and be the so-called CIC of the EFF. So I guess he saw that he would always come second best to Julius. Of course, he also narrated some of his dissatisfaction in terms of um, what he was not fully pleased with in terms of his. He mentioned specifically that he doesn't like the fact that Juju gets to be personal at times, using some of the people's body parts and just to speak things that are demeaning, embarrassing, things that are insultive and personal, instead of challenging the political views and sharing his ideologies and all of that. So it looks like there's a lot that Ugai is not happy about when it comes to his friend Ujuju. But now I'm also thinking that maybe one of the reasons why Julius does not show his wrathful and rough side like he usually does, it may also probably be that he knows that Floyd has a lot under his belt in terms of the secrets that they are sharing as political comrades and bosom friends. You know, there's a lot of things that if Floyd were to open his mouth against Julius, they would work definitely against him. Same applies to Julius with Floyd. So hence they are trying to be cordial and diplomatic towards each other against this whole thing. You know? So I really we really do not know what are the main causes of his departure and also the ultimate reason why Julius is not his usual self. But really, I feel for him as someone who's been following him from his youth league days until now. I've never really seen him so humbled. I've never really seen him so tamed, so so broken, if I could say. You know, the facial expression that he exhumed during the press conference when the announcement was being made in terms of Julius giving Floyd a slot to speak at the head office, at the EFF office, where he was announcing his resignation from the party, or shall I say his interest not to renew his membership. The way Juju was so downtrodden, it was even written all over his face. You could see that he's really broken, he's really shattered. He was not his usual self. While others are feeling vindicated because he's also been insulting people and doing all the things that he wanted to do without having any consideration for other people. So others feel like karma got his way with him, you see. So I guess we are gonna wait in anticipation and see how things are gonna unfold at the end, because the emergence of MK, it poses a threat to a lot of these parties, both the big and the smaller ones. And we also look at how things will unfold even there. I would have to do a new video now if I have to analyze matters in the MK. But the only thing that I'll say about MK is only to say that my wondering and my question, the main big question about MK is what happens after the departure of the founding member, who is in his mid 80s, who will not be here in the next 30 years or so. Then what happens? Because people are glued to the party, being attracted by him. So one really, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. That gets to be so interesting, because I foresee a lot of infightings and breakaways that will emerge with people wanting to take the spotlight and being at the helm. I see already Hlophe is leading in parliament, and recent Floyd is also part of the team. So it's going to be happening.